Hello and welcome to the new video. In today's video we're going to take a look at another legend team, and today we're going to have one of the most toxic legend teams that you can have here. And I was running this team mainly because it didn't really go always that well during the GO Battle weekend there, and so I wanted to kind of try out something that's a bit easier to play and see if I can climb back some elo. And I was able to climb back, I think 200 elo in like I think 6 sets total with this team. It is ridiculous. Like in one day I basically was able to get up over 200 elo with this team here because it was so broken. We're going to have the leader of Totterra. Totterra is kind of cool, but Totterra kind of works really well together with the Scizor of the Togekiss somehow. And Bastion in the back. This team was fantastic because you basically have 2 double cores, and we're going to talk a little bit about this here as well now. So what 2 cores do you have? You have the core of Totterra, plus that, actually you have 3 double cores. You have like really nice cores together with all 3 of the Pokemon there. Basically, we have the Bastion together with the Togekiss, which works out perfectly together because, I mean, Togekiss is going to be weak against Max Steel, which is alright for Bastion, and Electric, which is alright. Ice is really good for Bastion, to be fair. But of course, Bastion is going to be having those 2 double weaknesses, which Togekiss both double resists, which is quite nice. It's honestly really good for Bastion, because Bastion is going to be great in any neutral scenario anyway, but in those matchups where you're going to lose with a Bastion, you're going to lose quite hard, and Togekiss completely soaks up the damage from them. But then also Totterra works out quite well. Totterra is a Pokemon that can hit, especially like ground types, quite well, because of the grass typing. You're going to be able to resist those moves as well. You're very good in a 2-shield scenario, whereas also that you want to spend most of your shields is going to be on that Totterra. But also, Totterra doesn't want to face any of those flying-type Pokemon, where Bastion is going to be able to come and clutch as well with. So that kind of works out quite well. But also, what I've been noticing quite a bit with this team is that also Totterra and the Togekiss work out quite well together somehow, because, I don't know, like, while on paper it doesn't really look that much like they would work together that well, I feel like that, especially with the coverage that you have with a Togekiss, you actually have quite a lot of play against the Pokemon that you're going to bait out by having Totterra in the lead and getting out then with your Togekiss. So I feel like that this team just works so well in like all those small little cores together that it's very tough to deal with this team. It is very tough to deal with this team. This opponent already shows us on what it means to be tough playing against this team, because as you can see already, there's going to be the Scizor coming through. We're going to have another Scizor coming in right afterwards. And we are going to have here now the swap out very soon into the Bastion, which of course allows us to win the battle immediately with 3 Pokemon left. And so, for example, here, we're going to have a very bad lead for us, but we're going to have 2 Pokemon in the back that are going to be able to resist the Dragon typing, which is going to be alright for us as they have a Dragon Breath as a fast move. And we're going to be able to get a shield advantage here straight away, most likely, with our Togekiss, which works out quite well. And I swap out into the Diggersby, a Pokemon that I might be able to deal with my lead with, but also I'm going to be able to deal with it with our Togekiss here. Our Sphere is coming through, doing some solid damage here as well. And we are going to be able to just go and let the move go now at this point. Having the potential to go for the full farmland here with my Totterra is going to be great. Getting rid of basically one of the ground type Pokemon for our Bastion is going to be great. Fire Punch is going to be shielded, but now I'm going to be able to even let one move go through here if I really want to, as I have now access to the move Frenzy Plant as well, which would do enough damage against the opponent's Gyarados. But sadly, they have their own Totterra in the back. There's nothing I can do here at this point anymore. I think this is also maybe a legend. There's definitely someone who ran Gyarados as well with Diggersby Scizor. Actually, you can look at real quick. That's Scizor in the back though. Okay. Anyway, we're going to have here the next opponent. Going to have Psyshock and Dedenne. By the way, I made a list of 20 legend teams that I want to showcase as well on this channel. It might be tomorrow, might be the day after, we see. But today we're going to take a look at here one of the strongest teams to run for the Open Great League, as we are going to see here as well. Dedenne is going to go down to our Togekiss. This is so funny because usually you really expect the Togekiss can deal with the Dedenne that well, but actually if you land a Psyshock, it's not that bad. It is really not that bad. But as you can see here, the opponent goes into the Azumarill, and here's one more thing again, where actually our lead is generally great against Azumarill, but only if we are in neutral energy or energy up. Then we're going to be able to go for a Frenzy Plant to knock them out. Now the opponent has so much energy, but that energy goes to waste against our Basti, and I somehow still managed to mess up the battle a little bit. Because I thought they would have forfeited there already as well, because I just didn't go for anything. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. We are going to be able to go ahead and go for our Bastion. Anyway, I swapped out because I wanted to actually catch a potential Hydro Pump. Sorry, that is the main reason, because I know that there's Bastion in the back, and I know that if they have Hydro Pump, that's going to be the hardest hitting move. Here, Energy Ball doesn't really do that much, but they're going to get the defense drop, which can be a bit awkward for us. As I'm not too sure if they're going to bubble me now into a range where I'll play rough, but it doesn't really look like it. Stone is coming through. This is going to be enough to knock them out, and we are going to be able to move on to the next opponent, where we will face a Primeape in the lead. And this is going to be a prime example on how to play in this Pokemon. What you want to do is, you want to play that out. And you can use 2 shields right away if they're of course going to go up to a 5, which could be an Ice Punch or the Close Combat. But here the opponent decides to swap out into a Lapras. Lapras is alright for us. We have coverage on our Togekiss, we have super effective fast moves on our Bastion, because we're not running the Shadow Bastion, which is quite important for this team. We're also going to be able to take it to Sparkling Aria here, which is going to be great for us to get them a little bit lower. Stone Edge is going to now come through against the opponent. This is going to allow us to get the shield from them actually, and they swap out into their Primeape, where I go for the Frenzy Plant. This is all kind of unnecessary. Show went into my Togekiss, and I should have went for the other move here instead. It's called Sand Tomb. Would have been way smarter. I don't know why I did this. Didn't play this team perfectly there either. But as you can see, Lapras comes still in. We're going to be able to still get the KO with another Frenzy Plant, which is perfect. Goodbye there, and we see what they have in the back, which is going to be the Scizor. And you might think that's going to be so bad for me. Togekiss resists all the charge moves, and we just need to get 5 fast moves in here, which we are going to be able to do as the 5th comes in right now. And as I have Iron Head, we're going to win here. Trailblaze comes through. It's not going to be enough. And with that, we are going to be able to win this battle. We are going to be able to move on to the next opponent. And let's see what we're going to face in the lead. A horrible lead. It's going to be Drifblim, but we have actually great pacing here with our Togekiss as they swap out into their Blastoise. If we would have Dazzling Gleam, actually would have a very solid chance here in just knocking them out with a Dazzling Gleam and a few fast moves. But we have Aura Sphere here. Aura Sphere is a great move. Don't get me wrong, Aura Sphere is a really, really good move. It is allowing us to go for now even yet another Side Shock as well, which is kind of cool. And we're going to get the opponent quite low. Do we get them low enough though, in order for us to get the farm done? This would be huge for us. As we're going to see here, the RC is going to connect now against the opponent yet again. It is going to allow us to get the KO. And with that, we have alignment. And with that, we're going to have a Drifblim up against our Bastion. The issue is we are going to have now also this Pokemon here, the Azumarill, having access to Ice Beam. I don't know. I have to kind of win against all of the Pokemon with just the Bastion. And that is a bit awkward, because now I am in a bit of a tough spot here. I still have some energy, at least on my Togekiss, which is cool. But I don't know. Can I still win this one? Like, it is 2 versus 1 here. They have still a shield left. I got them low. Don't get me wrong. I got them low. That's cool. That's alright. But we are now also in Shadow Ball range, I think. And I'm forced to go for the full farm run against the opponent to have even a chance of winning this. I get the full farm run done. I go for the Togekiss. But they got at least 1 fast move, and I think even 2 fast moves than before. So I'm forced to catch a move here now, and I am not able to do that. And that's unfortunate. This is going to be quite unfortunate for us, but it is what it is. We're going to sadly lose this battle now. But yeah, good game to the opponent. Well done there, not throwing. And we can move on to the next opponent. Moving on, we are going to take a look here now at Chargerbug, a Pokemon that is going to be alright for our lead. It's not the best, it is not the worst. What we can do is we can actually still kind of pressure them quite a bit. I should have already went for a charge move after 5 fast moves, to be fair. That is a bit of a mistake by me. But I can now go for a Frenzy Plant to threaten his shield. And that's not only it. The opponent always kind of wants to have good fast move timing, and while they had already a charge move stored here, they kind of make a bit of a mistake here by allowing me to go for another Frenzy Plant and yet another fast move to now catch the move onto my Togekiss. Bug type moves are going to be double resisted on this Pokemon, which then allows me to also force them out, get out the Diggersby. And getting out the Diggersby means our Bastion is freed already from one of the main answers. But not only this, because we had a little bit of an energy advantage, and because we have a super effective charge move, we are also going to be able to knock them out in time, which means 1 Pokemon down, 1 Pokemon already very, very low, we have a shield advantage. It's looking quite nice, doesn't it? Gaston in the back. Okay, now we know what we have to deal with. Now we know what we have to align with. Now we know how to play against the opponent, because now the opponent's gonna get a lot of damage onto them already, enough to actually knock out the Gaston, and with that, there's only 1 Pokemon left, a Chargerbug that's nearly dead already, and we are going to be able to swap out into our Bastion to, yeah, kind of force them out. Next up, Guzzlord. Alright. How do you play against Guzzlord? 1, 2, 3, swap. Guzzlord is going to get to their first charge move after just 3 fast moves, so I want to catch the move here. Didn't work out. That's alright. We have energy in our lead. Energy on our lead is actually quite important for this team as well, because you have a lot of pressure with your Torterra. Never underestimate the Torterra's pressure here, especially in situations like this. The Scizor is going to be down 2 shields. I would have the option to eventually swap out even to my Torterra and go for a Sand Tomb after just 1 fast move, but first we have to get rid of some of the energy, and of course our Pokemon here, our Bastion, is kind of the best way. Now they're already quite low. What do I do now? I just decide to stay in here, go for the full farm down, and now I have 2 shields Torterra left. There's an Azumarill in the back, which you know we can deal with, and there is the Guzzlord in the back, which might look a little bit of an awkward Pokemon to deal with, but they go for the Dragon Claw, which is really weird to me. Dragon Claw is a very hard hitting move, but it takes quite a bit more energy than a Brutal Swing does. And so they're going to go for a Brutal Swing now. I overfarm by a lot. I can go for the Sand Tomb now. Sand Tomb is going to be enough to knock them out. I have a Frenzy Plant start already for the Azumarill, and while it's not going to be enough to knock them out, it's definitely going to put them into a Stone Edge range for our Basti. And so we are going to see as well, it does so much damage. We have the Swap out here as well onto the Ice Beam just to cover up a potential Hydro Pump. And with that, we are going to be able to win as the opponent kind of even, I think, closes the app here. Yeah, they had enough. They closed the app straight away after seeing my Bastion stopping in. Rage Quit, I would say. Good game to the opponent, though, and we can move on to the next one. Let's take a look at what they're going to have. We're going to have here the Torterra against the Clodsire. Great lead fast, exactly where we want to face it. But also here, for example, Clodsire, very good for our lead. But also with our Say-Sop, a lot of times we would be able to bait them out, as we have a Fairy type Say-Sop, but the Fairy type Say-Sop has Psyshock as a coverage move and a Neutral Pack as a fast move, which actually can allow you to actually have a very solid play in the 2-shield scenario against the Clodsire, especially if they would run Stone Edge over Sludge Bomb. Anyway, in comes Meowscarada. I actually misclick here and didn't hit all the bubbles, which doesn't really matter. But now I know what I can do in this battle. I can align myself. I'm going to have the Torterra up against the ground type, with also Pot Poison, and I have my Flying type Pokemon up against the Meowscarada. And with that, I win this battle. I know at this point already, there's nothing the opponent can do in order to win this. I just have to play out my Pokemon in the way I would have usually done as well. I would just use the shield here now in order to allow myself to guarantee leave any move here. It's going to be the worst case scenario, a Sludge Bomb. They have Sludge Bomb. Actually, I don't need to shield with it anyway, sorry. Because I know that this is not going to be enough to knock me out anyway. Just a neutral hit. From a Pokemon that doesn't have a lot of attacks anyway. Sludge Bomb not known to be the strongest move either. And with that, the opponent forfeits, and we can move on to the next one, where we will face yet again a good Pokemon for our Torterra, but not only this, we're also going to face a good Pokemon for our Basti. We're going to have the Drifblim here. Drifblim is going to go for a charge move. This is going to do some solid damage against me. Not enough to even knock us out here or like come close to that. So we're going to try to go for the full farm down, which works out quite well. And this allows me to go for the Flamethrower. Issue here is if they can farm me down. If they can farm me down, they're going to get a ton of energy to the point where I have to use 2 shields on my Torterra. And that's not really nice, is it? So what do I do? What can I do to prevent this? I can swap out of here because I let the move go. I got them very low already, but sadly they have kind of the worst case scenario in the back. They have the Forretress in the back, a Pokemon that takes neutral damage from our Torterra, but does super effective fast move damage back. The cool thing here is I got this extra move off. This extra move is going to allow us to get them way lower than they would usually be. I can catch the Sand Tomb here on my Bastion. I didn't know if it was a Sand Tomb or not. I still get some damage in, and now it's a farm down scenario for our Togekiss. And with that, we are going to put the opponent's Empoleon already into farm down range. I can shield up any kind of hit from the opponent here. Drillbag is going to get shielded, and in comes again more fast moves from us, and we're going to be able to win this battle. And we can move on to the next opponent, where we will face now a Malamar coming in. That's going to be interesting because we have actually a very good answer to Malamar in the back in our Togekiss. Togekiss is going to be able to take all the hits here. There's always only resisted damage unless they're running Hyper Beam. And I use the Sand Tomb here in order to put them into farm down range for us, which is exactly what we were able to do. We're going to be able to go and let this move go through as well, and end up here with 2 charge moves stored on our Togekiss, which is going to be fantastic. As in comes now the opponent's Empoleon. I can go for 1 move. I hope I still survive another fast move. I'm not too sure though. I'm not, but 1 more fast move from the Torterra would be enough. Altaria comes in and we win this battle straight away. Next up, Malamar in the lead. That's okay. We can play this out. It is not the worst matchup. It's not the greatest either though. Like, that's truth be told, it's not the best matchup ever. But we can play it out. Superpower comes in and they swap out into the Corviknight. what do I do against Corviknight? Corviknight is actually quite a bit of a more difficult Pokemon for us to deal with. The best play that I felt here was the play that I did to go for a Sand Tomb first and then into my Bastion. Why? Because now, like, the opponent has a double super effective fast move against us. It's not great. Like, the sand attack is actually chunking quite a bit of health here. But what we are going to be able to do is we're going to be able to get them very low as well already. Low enough that maybe even in the future, Mud Slap down is an option. Even though we have a resisted fast move, Mud Slap is doing quite a bit. But never mind, the opponent lets the move go through anyway, and they reveal their final Pokemon, which is going to be a Blastoise. Blastoise, on the other hand, is only going to run the fast move of Rollout, a move that is going to be resisted on the Bastion, and is a non-step move that doesn't do damage generally either. And we got the opponent already super low. And with that, we are going to be able to go for a shield. This is going to be allowing us to keep our Torterra, but also we're going to have alignment now. The opponent goes into the Malamar. I hope they use a shield here against us. This would be ideal for us. They decide to use a shield, and in comes Togekiss. And yet again, Togekiss is in a prime position to kind of farm them down, I want to say, but we go for the charge move before they can go for any of their own charge moves because they had a ton of energy. And with that, the opponent's Blastoise is all of a sudden so low that there's no way of them winning. They're in one Mud Slap range, and even if they go for like, what's called Ice Beam there, they would have never been able to reach the Ice Beam against me there as well. So, let's take a look at the next opponent, Talonflame. Talonflame is going to be a Pokemon that we're going to be able to completely hardwall, of course, with our Bastiodon, which is perfect. What is coming in next? It's going to be Dedenne, a Pokemon that we also still have a very solid matchup, especially energy up. The damage on our Bastion actually doesn't really matter that much as long as we had a little bit of energy, which we just had here in order to hit another charge move, because this will allow me to guarantee win this in a zero shield scenario. So, do they want to shield? I highly doubt it, because they know I have the Torterra to completely lock them down. In comes Stone Edge, gonna knock them out. In comes also the opponent's next Pokemon, the Superior. And you might wonder, why did I go into my Torterra here? Because there's only one Pokemon left, I just instantly went to my Torterra because I know I would have the option to go for the Sand Tomb in order to drop the defense permanently on the final Pokemon, which I thought would be the best idea no matter what Pokemon it is. Which is the case, but also I could have made my life a little bit easier here by just going straight into my Flying type, which would have forced them most likely to forfeit straight away. Now they have some hope, now they don't have any hope anymore, and they forfeit. You see already on how strong this team actually is. Primeape lead. This could be, by the way, also my favorite team here still against. Actually, my favorite team, most I wins against this team. My favorite team is the Primeape, Corviknight, and Stunfisk team. But let's hop out here into a Dusclops, so it's not the team. And we see two fast moves coming through from the opponent. I want to get a little bit of energy here, so I can go for one more fast move there as well, to at least store 10 energy on my Torterra, because I know this matchup here is generally considered to be very safe, unless they run Poltergeist. Poltergeist is a very hard-hitting move that is going to be quite basically the best in this specific scenario against the Bastiodon. Otherwise, I feel like Poltergeist a lot of times can be a little bit of a liability. But they swap out into the Primeape, which I never really get here, because at the end of the day, you are going to be able to use a shield there now onto a Pokemon that usually would have not really needed this. Like, you would have just been able to play it out there. I don't know. I don't know why I did this. But now I was able to swap out, go into my Togekiss. I have a ton of energy against the opponent. We still have to see what they have in the back, though. We know about the Ghost type. We know about the Dusclops. Let's see what they have else in the back. It is going to be Drifblim. So they have double Ghost and their lead there, which was kind of interesting. Primeape double Ghost. You usually see Ghost double Fighter, to be fair, with Primeape in it as well. But as you can see, there's going to be the Side Shot coming through against the next Ghost type, knocking them out. And while this is not looking that great for me, I'm still hopeful here. I am still hopeful that my Torterra even has some potential play. I am forced to go for a Sand Tomb now in order to drop the opponent's defense a bit. I don't get to my actual move. Now it's Basti time. And as you see here, I think I have one more, more than 1 HP. And with a shield here now coming in, I get more fast move damage in. And this allows us to knock them out. And we can move on to the next opponent. We will face off against basically the best possible lead and now the best possible safe-up for our team, as Pangoro has absolutely zero play against Togekiss. Zero play here at all. The Night Siege is coming through. We are going to be able to go for the farm down here very, very soon as well. But let's see on how this is going to go. Still, we are having here the full farm down done. We have the Aura Sphere coming through against the Stunfisk. It's going to be perfect in order to go for a lot of damage against them. But let's see on how this is going to work out. We have another Aura Sphere coming through. This is going to allow us... By the way, I have actually a very long video here because this team was just so broken. Like, this team was absolutely fantastic. We're going to let the move go here. This charge, of course, going to be not a problem. And again, we're going to have the option here to I guess go for the Sandtom and drop the opponent's defense, but we have here the Flying type against us. And I want to see how much in ours it does. It does 2-shot us, basically, with the fast move damage here for sure. But we're still going to get them very, very low, and we're going to even be able to force shields on the opponent by going for those stone edges now. This is going to get the shield from them straight away. We're going to be able to now go ahead and go for our own shield to get them a little bit lower. And I'm not really too worried about this matchup in general. We're going to swap out here into our Tatera, farm them down, and this is going to be it for this battle. This is a fantastic team. This is a fantastic Legend team. I'm not too surprised that someone hit Legend with this team. This was by far one of the strongest performances that they had so far with a team in the GO Battle League. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, of course. It is free. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye-bye.